dirty musician. Do you know you smell like her? Lucille.
Welcome everybody to the Unnormalized Podcast. This is your host Frankie A, and today I'm joined with a really dope ass number one with a bullet feature artist that I scour all the social media outlets and platforms, and I always am looking for really dope artists and new music that I can add to my playlist and possibly have them on the show just to talk to them about what they do best. And today I have DJ Drell with me, who has just today dropped his new single, Quicksand, which is pure fire. And so welcome DJ Drell to the Unnormalized Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Frankie.
So talk to me about the new single. I was just telling Drell off camera that I've been listening to it on repeat all day. I drive a lot during the course of the day for my 9 to 5, so the song has been on repeat pretty much the whole entire day. That's how dope it is. So Drell, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from?
Okay, well, where should I start? I'm a college student.
Yeah. Let us know. You know what it is, buddy? We rarely get to, talk to and get to know like the behind of who the artists are.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to do here at the Normalized Podcast. Not only feature new artists and guests and all that kind of stuff, but I think what makes us really kind of latch onto an artist is when we know their background and like where they've come from, because it gives us a deeper connection to what you guys do. So yeah, sure, wherever you want to jump in, just where you're from and some of your background.
Let's do it. So I'm a student at UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Actually, I just transferred in here. It's my first semester here. I was at another in-state institution before that, and it's been a bit of an adjustment here, but really liking the school. It's hard work, but, a lot of partying and stuff, so it's a little bit of both ways. So
the
really
balance. The balance.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, as far as music's concerned, I can't even tell you how long I've been doing this. I remember, like, back in middle school, I heard, like, my first Skrillex song, and I was just like, I need more of this. And ever since then, I've just kind of, like, had this fixation with EDM music or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like it started with like, me like making DJ mixes on my computer. And then I got my first DJ equipment. So like I was just, I feel like a lot of kids have that like start, where they just are just in their bedroom, just putting in the hours. And I did that for years before like I even tapped into music production or anything. And then once I started getting into music production, I was like, I'm pretty good at this. Started releasing stuff on SoundCloud. It's getting some momentum. And I guess it's all led up to this point here today.
Well, I have a really big respect for DJs. I'm a little older, so I was really big like into like the rave scene back in like the 90s. That's how much I'm dating myself. But always been into like electronic, like you said, type of music. And it's just something that I always love listening to. It's always been something that I've kept in my playlist. I mean, I have stuff from like DJ Bones from back in the day that are still in my playlist. Yeah. Very old school. So I like to see the progression of how like the genre of electronic music has transformed over the years, and it's only gotten better. And I don't know if that's probably because of technology and things of that nature. You younger guys have a lot of tools at your disposal, and it's truly, and what some people really may not look at it like that, but it's truly an art form, because you guys are producing beats and structuring the music from like the ground up. So what is that process like? So walk us through. Quicksand is a really dope track. And a lot of your other tracks that I've been listening to on your SoundCloud are fire. So walk us through, like, how do you come to produce something like Quicksand?
Yeah, so actually, the story behind Quicksand is kind of cool. I mean, I think it's kind of cool. So I was at this college party, and Emma, who's the vocalist for the track, comes up to me and just says, "Are you Drell?" Which is my artist name. Never seen the girl before. She didn't know me. I didn't know her. But like that was my first time ever getting recognized as an artist and not just being, the kid I am. And I was like, "Yeah, how do you know me?" And apparently she had just discovered me by chance on her own. And she was like, "I do singing, songwriting, like here's my Instagram, let's work together." And I like at the moment I kind of was like, "Okay, like I'll follow this girl, check her out." And the next morning I was like, "Holy crap, like she has talent." And then like instantly it was like we gotta work on something. Sent her like a rough draft of a song that I was working on, which happened to be Quicksand. She wrote some lyrics, and then we just been working on it the entire semester, and I've just now released it earlier today.
And not only is the track really great, but Emma is a phenomenal singer.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
she's so good.
yeah, maybe somebody that I'm gonna have to, because if you tap into her and see if I can get her on the show. But
Maybe.
and so, like, that's how Lightning in the Bottle kind of starts. It's, being at a party and having that recognition
You're right.
starting, that's how, and I was talking to another artist, Drell, that I had on pretty recently, that I'm going to be featuring as a spotlight artist as well. And I think what's great about artists like yourself is that with, for like it or not, social media, some people are opposed to like social media, but I think the benefit that we get out of something like social media is that I can tap into an artist like yourself, that is doing some phenomenal shit out there,
Yeah.
and it not have to be like pumped out through like mainstream, music outlets that we had to kind of resort to in the past.
I
And
I totally agree, and that's a really good point because like I feel like a lot of younger producers kind of just are just like waiting for that moment, right? And they're just like, like doing stuff on Instagram, kind of like passively waiting for something to just fall into their lap. And while that does happen for some people, like for me, I'm like constant. I try to send like 10 DMs to artists, like follow new people every single day, just because like, if I follow 10 people and one person follows back, that's still growth at the end of the day.
absolutely.
And like that's all it takes. And I feel like in my case with Emma, like she had just, stumbled upon my music, and it was just like that chance encounter, and then it blew up into something that was like this awesome project that I was able to incorporate all my friends with, like get feedback with like other pros in the industry, and it's just I don't know, the whole journey has just been like I've never really put so much effort into a song, and then
Mm,
to see it all pay off, like hasn't even been 24 hours when we've already passed 1,000 streams, which is
that's
just
awesome.
like that's like I'm not huge on metrics, but like for me that's like pretty cool,
Yeah,
to see like
absolutely.
you put all your work in and it's like paid off immediately, and there's only it's gonna be on the internet forever for now, so it's cool.
and and that's just a testament, Joe, to how good it is. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, or a lot of the times, when you're an artist and like yourself, and you put a lot of hard work into things, we feel that as the person that's being the audience or receptive of what you're putting out there. And it's those blood, sweat, and tears projects. People can tell when you put a lot of heart and soul into something,
Yeah.
and obviously people are really gravitating towards it. Like Joel said, he just put the track up a couple of hours ago, and it's already gaining momentum, which, I mean, once you guys hear the track, you guys are gonna absolutely love it, and it's automatically going to kind of gravitate you to the rest of his work that he's done. It's phenomenal stuff. Like, I really dig it. It's not like, what I commend you for is like being a new artist, and your stuff is sounds quality, man. It's like really well produced, really well
Thank you.
done, and putting you side by side with some of the guys that are out there and quote unquote pros. I mean, you're just as professional as they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would put you side by side with any DJ. That's how phenomenal I dig your work. So like, when you're doing something like this, because EDM and electronic music is different from a lot of other types of music, where in the creation process, it's not like a singer-songwriter type of situation,
Right.
where, the structure may be a little different. So like, how do you begin to like build and create a track, like Quicksand and some of your other tracks that you have out there? Like, give us like an insight into like, how does that build for you? How do you create like this masterpiece out of basically not starting from scratch?
Well, I actually have the project pulled up. If you want me to share my screen, I can kind of walk you
Awesome.
through it.
Yeah, go for it. Go
All
for
right,
it.
let's try this. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay.
And a huge picture of myself. Oh, this is dope.
Yeah. I went through and I like kind of organized everything, stemmed it out, so it's just not so sloppy, easier for the audience to understand. So the way we actually started this track was, I have this main chord progression. Can you hear okay?
I can hear it.
So it's just like this like soft piano that I play. And so like that's all I sent to Emma. And just from the from those chords, she was able to write the lyrics. So like, this is the piano and her like main vocal together.
Falling slowly
Maybe I can make it a little bigger.
in the dirty music shop. Do you know you smell like her?
So I guess like the piano and the vocal are, I think, the core aspects of the track, but obviously that's like not enough to, that's just not enough to get a listener to listen through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we kind of like went back and forth through ideas, and then eventually like I came up with this drop, which follows the same chords, but added some super saws, a lead, some nice bass layers, and let me play it for you. So yeah, that's like part of the drop. One thing that Em and I like were going back and forth when we were making the song is we kind of really wanted this like call and response.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like you can hear that with like this lead layer and then this synth layer when they play together. Here, let me solo them. Like, there's definitely like a call and response that you can hear.
Yeah.
And so like, I guess that kind of just gives the track like that much more power. But like, even with like the drop and the vocal, like we still were like, that's not enough. So then we just added all these other components, some drums.
So Drell, let's just play Quicksand for the viewers and let them hear the fire for themselves.
Falling slowly in the dirty music shop. Do you know you smell like her? Losing, but am I really losing you, or am I losing me? You're not the one you promised to be. Quicksand got me tripping and stumbling. I can't ever hit the ground running. so I don't feel it all. I'm sinking deep into my bed, staring at the ceiling. I paint the colors in my head. Your quicksand got me tripping and tumbling, tripping and tumbling. I can't ever hit the ground running. You should see who I'm becoming. But your quicksand got me, quicksand got me, quicksand got me stumbling, stumbling. Keeps you warm at night, 'cause I won't be by your side in the morning light.
It's, I really appreciate you breaking it down like that, because
Yeah.
I don't think that people like, under they dig it, and they, will listen to it a million times, but they don't know, now
Like,
you're giving them
all
an
the stuff
insight.
that's in it, yeah.
Yeah, like this is true artistry, people. So, while it may be, and I've watched Drell, I looked up, his stuff on social media, and you do play instruments, right?
Yeah,
I know you play the piano.
Couple guitars, piano under my bed. I got it all.
So this is just another vessel of an instrument for Drell, to take his
Absolutely.
music and turn it into something modern, like this. And, had you had any, were you playing music and instruments your whole entire life?
So, I mean, I feel like I was like a lot of children where my parents were like, "Oh, you need to play an instrument," but it was more so them forcing me to play. So, so like when I was a kid, I was signed up, enrolled in guitar lessons against my will for several years, and never really appreciated it. And then I quit eventually. And now that once I started making music, I was like, wait, I have this skill that my parents forced on me that I can now apply to like something that I actually enjoy. And I I don't usually record my guitar into my songs, but I can definitely like get inspiration just by picking up the guitar, playing a couple chords. I'm like, that sounds good. Let me see if I can, add some electronic elements over that, and then you get a song like this.
And it's amazing to me, because I am such a techie person, and when you wanted to share, the background, and show how many layers of pieces go into just one track like Quicksand,
Yeah. Well,
in order to make it like,
yeah.
starting from just that simple soft piano and Emma's voice, and how much you guys have to really collaborate to put each little individual piece in it to make it a whole. I find it absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think I just counted. I think we went through like 7 or 8 different versions, and like every single one is just like from arrangement 1 to the current one that like we released the stores. There's just like it gets totally different, and that's because like the whole process of collaborating with each other, and then like showing our friends, and our friends are like, I don't like this, maybe change this. Like the original song was basically just a piano, like all the drums that are in the project, and then the first drop, and then after the first drop it was like copy, cut, paste the entire thing. But then after listening it to like for a couple weeks, you're like, wait, this kind of sucks. Like like people are gonna get bored. And so what do you do when the listener gets bored? Like, you need to keep them entertained. And
Yeah.
so that was like my whole idea for the second drop, which I'll play right now. Where I kind of wanted to just, because the song was pretty like slow and chill, but I really wanted to have the second drop hit hard and just have more momentum. So I kind of put more kicks in, more automation, and then right when the second drop hits, I kind of tease it. So I'll actually just show it so you can hear. So like, I guess when I made that, I was like, everyone expects an 8-bar build and then a drop right after that 8 bars, but I was like, let me confuse the listener. And that's how, like, right when you think the drop is gonna hit, it goes back down and sucks you back in, and then hits again. So it's just like those small nitty gritty details, but like they really, in my opinion, make a track stand out from the rest of the noise.
Absolutely. And what I liked about it so much, besides Emma having a phenomenal voice, I just think that like it was almost like what you said prior to me even talking to you tonight, was that like just when I thought like it would be like a continuation, like sometimes like with electronic music we hear the whole thing straight through, and like you said, it kind of gets a little mundane at times, but this was like, it was almost like I was listening to different songs within a song, if that makes sense. Like it was something like new, and like just when I was like getting into like a certain part of it, you would flip it up and twist it and make it something different, which, like you say, I mean, I can tell you I'm receiving it the way that you want to put it out, in that every point of the song, it just kind of like pulls you in, and makes you want to listen to a little bit more. And I'm not bullshitting. I had this song on, listen, I heard like a 2-hour commute today. So this song probably for at least an hour and a half was steadily on repeat, because that's how I am. I love when I hear good music. Like I almost internalize it, Drell. Like it's air for me, and and I really enjoyed it, and I hope that this is a beginning and a little taste of what we're going to be seeing coming up, coming down the road from you. So talk to me about, is this, I know you're in college right now, is this something that you're going to school for?
So I'm actually a computer science major.
Nice. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. And, I actually, and now that I transferred, I picked up music composition just because there's a fantastic program at my school. So I'm like, I'm here. Why not, try it out?
Yeah.
Just because I can. But actually, I think computer science has, in a way, made me a better producer, because in comp sci classes, like, you're always given a problem, but not really, like, there's not always one solution. Like, there's 1,000 ways you can code to get the same output from a given input. And it's just like with music, like, there's 1,000 ways to make different chord arrangements that will like invoke a certain feeling. There's different ways to do your drums. There's different ways to, design your own like synths. And it's just like that whole process of trying something, listening to it, be like, that doesn't sound right, tweaking some parameters. Or, like, sometimes I'll work on a whole project and then be like, okay, I got to go to bed, wake up the next morning and be like, wow, this is not what I expected. But like, it's like practicing for, like, that whole experience is makes me better and allows me to like make a song like this that I feel like is really good. And other people have told me that it's really good, and just like hearing all that is really rewarding and stuff.
Yeah, and it's well deserved, very well deserved. So, what can we expect coming down the road from Drell? With the I'm assuming only the success is going to, and the exposure with just Quicksand alone is going to you know, catapult you into, you
Yeah.
know, different places. So like, what can we expect? What can we, you know, what's coming down the line for you? You know, with the release of this and some of your other stuff, you know, people are, the more exposure you get, the, you know, more draw that you're going to get. So tell us about what's coming up for you.
Yeah, so working on music during this semester is a little difficult just because, I'm constantly getting my butt kicked by school. But I squeeze in time during the weekends. You can definitely expect another song from Emma and I. Definitely. We've already kind of started, hit the drawing board, fleshing out ideas. So that you can expect. And I've also been over the course since like early summer, been developing a 5, maybe 6 track EP that I'm hoping to release in early 2020.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so like my plans for that are actually totally different than what anyone's heard. Is I'm really trying to go like orchestral and EDM. So
Nice.
kind of trying to blend the two elements. Still kind of figuring out the sound, but waiting for like Thanksgiving break in a couple days and December break to just like really just lock myself in my room and just focus on making new music.
Nice. And what is the like I have this show drill because of people like yourself that are doing something totally out of the box from, you know, the normal path in life. And music in itself is a normalized, so to say, type of arena to get into. But, you know, looking at, you know, this process that you showed us and let us into today, is even more so of an abnormal to get into. So like, what does your family like say about getting into like all this music stuff? I know they wanted you to play instruments when you were younger, but now that you're trying to do this kind of like outside of just being like maybe like a hobby or something like that, what is the feedback from like your family and stuff like that when they see, you know, you're going to school for computer science, but this all stuff is brewing in the background?
Yeah, so my family has definitely been supportive of me throughout like my whole journey. And like a lot of people I know, when I first started out, like making music was clearly a distraction and my parents were a little reluctant to like fully support me because it was like me always DJing in my bedroom and skipping chores, skipping, school, whatever. But then like over the past couple months, over the past year when I really started to gain momentum as an artist, I think maybe my parents kind of just saw that like, this kid has potential, and they've really been like supporting me. They've been helping me out obviously with money and stuff so I can have some of the equipment I have in my room right now, which isn't a lot. Like all I have is a couple guitars that I've had for, a decade, 2 speakers and an audio interface. And that's like I think a lot of people think that they need the best gear, the best plugins to, make the best music. But like I started with just my laptop really, and like
Wow.
have the bare like really like the bare minimum studio, but it's really like everything that's up in your head. And if like you can develop a way to just transfer it onto your computer, then like you don't need the best gear or like the best speakers or the best headphones. Like you just need the best ideas, really.
Love that. I love that. And totally fascinated by this whole thing. Like I've played around with some like, you know, apps and stuff like that, that are nowhere near in comparison to what you're doing here. And that's difficult. So I can, you know, just by looking at what you've showed us tonight, I mean, it's a phenomenal process, and I think it's a great way to let people know how much work that you put into a track like Quicksand, and when they hear it now, they have a greater appreciation
Yeah.
for what they're listening to and what you do, Drell, as an artist. You know, we hear DJ and all that kind of stuff. Especially an older cat like me, we're used to two turntables, some vinyl records, and the game has changed so much, that there so much goes into it now, than just throwing on somebody else's music and mixing it down into something that people want to listen to. But DJs and producers like yourself are, they I find what you do so phenomenal, and consider you an artist just like I would consider an actor or another musician, because this is another form. This is the the new way that we're watching music being produced. And it's totally for me, like a techie person, this is totally up my alley to see this. So I appreciate that you shared it with me. So Drell, I love the fact that you took the opportunity to sit down with me on the day that the song is being dropped. So it makes me feel like I get the exclusive. I know that the song has been out there for a couple of hours now, but I appreciate that you took the time to really give us an insight into not only a fire track like Quicksand, but to see the process and the making. It's very commendable, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck and success in all you do. I understand, being somebody that is in college, how some of this extra stuff, like you have to find the balance and fit it in and still maintain school and all that. So much respect for you for doing something like this and giving us something like Quicksand in the process of continuing education, because I find that's very, very important. So
it's like you said about hard work. You can have hard work and talent, and with anything, like, I feel like hard work will always beat talent, because I've been like doing this for so long, for like 8 years, and for the longest time I was like, is this really even worth it? Like, I'm not getting the streams I want, I'm not getting the fans I want, but then, like, it's just something within me maybe persist, and it's taken me. I've been releasing music under Drell for like almost a year and a half, and like only now is it really just starting to like really pay off, if that makes any sense. So like my advice to anyone out there listening is just to just keep at it. Like, you got to put in the hours. You can't just expect to get results by just sitting there just playing around every now and then. Like, it takes consistent effort.
Absolutely, and we're gonna see the payoffs of that. And I'm a fan of Drell. I thank you for giving us some great shit out there.
Heck yeah.
A lot of stuff out there now. It can be a little, I don't know, but I always stay on top of current music, even being an old guy like I am. So I appreciate some really great stuff, and I look forward to seeing what the journey kind of unfolds for you. I think you have a great future ahead of you in this music game. Drell, before I let you go, tell people how they can find you on your socials, where they can hear not just Quicksand, but where they can hear all the stuff that you have under Drell. Give them like everything that we can follow you.
Yeah. So should I like pull up my Instagram, or
go for it, buddy? Go for it.
I'll do it. Let me just pull this up. So if it loads, let's see, Instagram. So I'm probably most active on Instagram. It's probably the best way to reach out to me if you want to. And my thing is just right here. iamnotdrell. This is me. So if I always respond to DMs. I'm not going to leave you on red unless you say something mean, then I'll probably just ignore you. And then if you just do SoundCloud, let's see. SoundCloud is, I think, so yeah, it's just Drell Music. Profile looks like this. And then, yeah, and then you can, let's see. And then Spotify, I guess, is the next one. Spotify is, well, all my songs are on SoundCloud because I have some remixes that I can't do on that I can't put on Spotify, but and then here's my SoundCloud, or excuse me, Spotify page. And I'm also on Apple Music and Twitter, but I don't really use those too much. So Instagram, SoundCloud, and Spotify are the best ways to find me.
Awesome. So when I post this episode, which I'm literally going to get off the interview with Drell, and we're going to put it into post-production so we can get it up and get it on our social media platforms and podcast platforms. So we, are on the cusp of getting Drell and Quicksand the same day that it's released. So I'm going to post all the links to how you can follow Drell on Instagram, Spotify, SoundCloud. And guys, go out there and check him out. He's a really super dope producer. And I wish you nothing but the best. And everybody, get Unnormalized. This is Frankie A. and Drell. And go check out Quicksand, that is playing and streaming on SoundCloud, on Spotify, even on Apple Music, even though he doesn't use it that much. But check him out, show him some love. And Drell, thanks so much for being on the Unnormalized podcast.
Sure. Thank you, Frankie, for the opportunity.
You got a much success to a great musician. So everybody, again, that's the Unnormalized podcast. Have a great night and get unnormalized.
Keeps you warm at night, 'cause I